Stampers, it's Gigi with Stamp FUNatics, and welcome to my week 6 of my 12 weeks of Halloween. We're halfway through, and I have this cute little treat box for you today, and we're going to actually make this, and it is a simple box, and I love it because we can store them flat and have them for quite a while, and then just assemble them when we're ready to use them. And I just wanted to show you, like, here's a regular Reese's. They're pretty substantial. I've got also a little fun-sized Twix that I can put in there, and even maybe a fun-sized Kit Kat, and then we can close it up, and there you go. So it fits quite a bit of Halloween candy, or I'm sure it would fit also maybe a nice little piece of jewelry, a bracelet. It could be a treat, doesn't have to be a trick. And it could be a lot of fun. But anyway, this is so easy to make, and I just wanted to share this with you. We're going to actually be using this stamp set called Spooky Cat. I've used it in several of my other videos. This time we're going to use this cool owl, and let's see, we're also going to use that trick or treat stamp. So this is in our new holiday annual catalog, and you can find it in there. I'll also have it on my blog where you can find all of the supplies that I had to make this today. Okay, so what you need to begin is a piece of, and I used very vanilla because the cardstock that comes in the Spooky Night Designer Series paper actually has vanilla in it. So I thought that would match better than the Whisper White. So what you're going to do is you're going to put it in your scoring board, and you're going to score it, which I've already kind of done this. We're going to score it at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, then 4.5, and then 5. And the beginning piece, I'm sorry if I didn't say it, was 8.5 by 5.5, which is just half of our cardstock, just as if you were going to make a card base. Okay, so then after you have it in the landscape mode and you do it at those 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 4.5, and 5, we're going to turn it, and you're going to do the same thing again, 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 4.5, and 5. And then I kind of just marked out a little bit of this so you could see it, of the different parts that we don't need on here. I also made myself a little template that I just keep handy just to kind of compare and to make sure I'm cutting the right part. But these first 2 squares we're going to actually just cut off. We don't need them. So I'm just going to cut right on those lines on both sides. We're going to do the same thing. Okay. And that brings us to there. Now this square, this first one up to the score mark, we don't need. So we're going to actually go ahead and we're going to cut that one off too. And do the same thing on the other side. Just on the end. So it kind of helps if you go ahead and mark it a little bit so that you don't cut the wrong piece off. Okay. Let's get rid of some of that. And so that brings us there. And if you see my little template, then I just went ahead and down to this score mark, I'm actually going to take that whole side off, and I'm going to take this whole side off, and we're going to cut it all the way up on that score line. Scissors in there, and we're just going to take that side off. Whoops. All right. I didn't cut that one very straight. No, I guess my lines weren't straight. Okay, and then we're going to cut this side off. So we have to cut in on that little score line, which creates a tab. And then we're just going to cut all the way up and cut that part off. Okay, so again, here's where we're at. Now, this little first score line square, I want to actually cut that whole thing off, just like we did up above. Wait a minute, let me put that down. And then we're going to take this square off also. Okay, and then the last part we're going to do is we're just going to cut in and make another tab like we did up here. And on this one, I actually mitered it just a hair, just because it will close easier if you have just a little bit of a mitering on the corners there. So you see how much I'm taking. It's not much. It's just going to be a little hairline. And the same thing over here. Okay. Now, let's see where we're at. Okay, then the rest of it I'm just going to fold on those score lines. real good. Come up here, and actually I want to find, let's see, my bone folder and really take a crisp fold on those lines. When you make a box, it's just easier and it folds nicer if you really get a crisp line on it. So use your bone folders. I'm just going to go back over these two also. The same thing over here. Okay, and then let me just take a double check on mine. Yep, I think I am good. Now the last part I did was I did round these corners here. You can either do it with your scissors or you can do it with your corner rounder. Now I have an old one. You can use the back of your box templates. Your box, gift box making. I just have this one, so I'm going to use this real quick. Let's get that out of the way. And these just help the end of the box close up a little nicer. Let's see. There. Oops. Not too far the last time. Let's move that up out of the way. But again, you can just do these with your scissors if you want. There's no rhyme or reason. You just want to make it easier to close. All right. So that's our box. Now, only one piece, and this is how it's going to lay out. And you see there's two score lines there. There's no score lines on this side. So this side I'm going to fold in, and that's where my tear and tape or fast fuse, whatever you want to use. I'm going to use some tear and tape. Is going to go because I just want to have that ready. And actually this, if you're going to store it, is the best way to go is to use your tear and tape. And I'm just going to run it along there. And make sure my ends are down real well. And then I'm just going to peel that off. And then I'm going to bring this end all the way over. I'm not worrying about score lines. I'm just going to bring it all the way over to match. When I get it matched up real well, I'm going to crease it. Now, the reason why I did that is because now you're ready to leave these flat. And you can make a bunch of these up at one time, and then you can have them just stored in a drawer. They won't take up much space. You can travel with them really easy. When you're ready to use them, then you can just pop it up, put in your corners, and fold in. Just like that. And the same thing over here. You're going to fold your two sides in and your top. And that's why we wanted to kind of corner around those sides. Actually, this one might need a little bit more, so let's just go ahead and ring it around a little bit. And then they just close that much easier. Okay, so there's your box. Now, I did in the beginning hole punch, not hole punch, but just took like my little 1/2 inch round punch, circle punch, and did make a little lip, but then when I put this paper over it, it really covered it up. So I'm not going to do that. That's kind of silly. So I'm just going to leave it plain. And I'm ready to decorate, okay? So what I took was, I cut out of the Spooky Designer series paper, one of these squares with the tree, and it's a 3x3. I cut a piece of basic black cardstock, and this is just 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. That just fits on the box like that for a little frame, and then this is going to fit right inside it like that. But the first thing I want to do is take my owl stamp, and I want to stamp my owl on my tree. And I use Smoky Slate for my owl. I didn't want him real black because I'm putting a black hat on him later and everything. So I did just take my gray and I sat him with his little feet propped as best I could. And that's why I love the polymer stamps. You can see exactly where you're stamping so that his little feet were sitting right on the tree. All right, and then I took my pumpkin pie marker, and I just went and colored with the little small side. I just colored his little beak in a little bit. Actually, you know what? I think I can use this brush side. Might be a little faster. And I also did his little feet just to give it some interest because I had that color on the background here. Okay, and then we're ready to put him on. Let's go ahead and just do that part of the box. So I'm just going to use some snail here on the back of my designer paper and put it on my basic black piece. And then that whole piece, I'm just going to use some snail. You could use fast fuse too if you want to do it a little bit, but I'm doing paper to paper. I think this is going to be fine. And I'm going to go ahead and add that onto the front of my box. Let's see, about there. That's a little bit crooked. Wait a minute. Let's straighten that out while I have the chance before my ink gets too dry. There, that's going to look a little better. Okay, then we have these wonderful black rhinestones. So I'm going to take, I guess I took this middle size, and I'm going to put those, sliding around, there we go. I'm going to put one on this eye and one on this side. Just gave some depth to the owl's eyes. And then we have from the designer series paper again. I've already pre-cut one, but you have the paper that has a gazillion hats on it. And as you can see, I've just been cutting away on this, picking out whatever pattern I want. So you can pick your pattern. I just picked this little black hat. And I'm going to put a small dimensional on the back of it. I'm not using the mini though. I am going to use the regular size. I believe it'll fit. And I'm just going to add that to my owl. And you can kind of put it on a little angle if you want. There. And then the last part I have is the saying. And I just cut a little piece. Let's see. Let me measure this one more time. This is only 1/4 inch, and I did it by, just a little under 3 inches because I am going to cut it down. And we're going to stamp our trick or treat in black memento. So I just want to ink that up good and try to get it where I want it. Okay. And then I'm just going to cut it down to fit. So just to past, I guess, the treat and maybe over here by the T. And we'll be able to tell, let's see, when I put it on. There, yeah, it's not going to hide too much. I could even cut this a little bit more because I just wanted the trick or treat on there. And again, I'm going to use my dimensionals to pop this little saying up. So I'm just going to use 2. And then we're about done. Okay, so I'm just going to set that right kind of across his chest there. And just kind of end it with the box. So isn't he cute? And you could add more rhinestones if you want. You could add one to the buckle. Maybe a regular rhinestone might work better on that because it is already black. But like I said, these boxes are so fast and cute. You could make a bunch of them, like I said, and store them flat until you're ready to use them. Even after you decorate, these are still great. Let me show you. If I take it apart, you can still store it flat and then just be careful and put each one on top of each one like that so that they don't, stick or get squished. Anyway, so that's my project for today, and I hope you're enjoying this. If you are, go ahead and give it a thumbs up on my YouTube channel and subscribe if you haven't so you can see all of my future ones coming up. You can go back and see the first few that I've already done for my 12 weeks of Halloween. I've been having a lot of fun putting these together and doing different cards and projects for you. So if you need any of these products to make this, you can again see them on my blog, the supply list, and I'd be happy if you shop with me at StampFUNatics.com. So thanks and have a great day.